Namaskaram and hello. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Ganesha, help me make a good video. Please like the video if you like the content. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, share it, leave a comment. Really helps me out. Got a lot of irons in the fire and a lot of things, that are got a lot of moving parts with all the things going on. So it's a little hard for me right now until I get my social media manager up and going, and they ain't cheap. So yeah, please help me out here because eventually I can get monetized, through like YouTube and stuff like that, and that will just help. So just trying to help people. So help me out, and that will hopefully help others out. So today, just making a really quick video. I'm losing my voice. So I think it's just change in weather and allergies. There's like a lot of like pollen in the air, because it's spring here in the south. Beautiful, but yeah, lots, like my car was just like dusted with like light green specks. So anyways, so I've gotten some questions from a few people who have reached out to me, DM'd me, and they've asked about things like supplements and nutrition, diet. What I will say is like that isn't my wheelhouse. Like I'm not it's not my specialty. I don't specialize in all that. I mean, I definitely have a lot of friends that I would consider more of a specialist than I am. And I, through my journey of gastrointestinal problems, I mean, literally just the whole way, it's just like, since I was a kid, I've had issues, which isn't uncommon for people that do grow up in, very traumatic childhoods, child abuse, neglect, things like that. And it's not uncommon for a lot of those people to have gastro problems or autoimmune diseases. And I have celiac disease, which is an autoimmune disease. So it is very important for you to take care of your GI tract, right? End to end. People they don't mind talking about this front end. But when it comes to the back end too, they're like, oh, let's not talk about that. Get over it. It's part of the body. It's a necessary part of the body, and it does a lot of good for us. So, but the whole way through, you have to be more cognizant of how you're taking care of your body. And so when it comes to like diet, all that I will say is you are probably going to have to work. Some people are like, they don't have many issues with their GI tract, very little. And, that's great. I mean, I'm happy for you. And I hope that you continue to be healthy, because once you start to have problems, it sometimes like a cascade effect, not just for your GI tract, but for the rest of your body, like systemically. Right, like if your GI tract's not doing well, you're probably going to have things like malabsorption, or you're going to be losing certain nutrients or minerals, and have imbalances like metabolic imbalances and stuff like that. So, but then it's also uncomfortable. And there's actually quite a few things for people that are what we call inflammatories. And sometimes you don't even know, because when people think of inflammation, they think of, something swollen. But sometimes it can be like when my rosacea acts up, or if I do eat gluten, sometimes I get a rash that is only associated with celiac disease called herpetiformis dermatitis, I think is what it's called. Sorry, I blanked, but I think that's what it's called. And, but it can just be on like, redness on your skin, right? Or it can be like achy joints. And it can even be brain fog. So a lot of people forget that, your brain can have levels of inflammation that are not like an emergency. You need to go to the ER, but like mild inflammation, but it can really upset your day. You can throw it off. So all I can say is for many of us, you're going to have to determine probably over a long period of time, what is good for you, it doesn't matter if your siblings, your parents, your kids eat something and don't experience any discomfort or any kind of GI problems or like downstream problems, like in their skin, their brain, like the things that I was like just talking about. So every like nutrition is very much a tailored fit um, uh, process. Like you're gonna have to figure out maybe by working with an allergist, right? Allergists will not just test for like environmental allergens, but they'll test for food allergens. And I recently did that, probably like 6 months ago, and I make sense, but there were some things that it's not like anaphylactic shock, like I eat it and I'll just like my mouth and throat will close up. I'll need an EpiPen or something. No, but it's enough to upset my GI tract and then cause systemic problems. And a lot of people don't realize that, and they just kind of push through, power through. So you might have to see an allergist, a nutritionist, some people dietitian, right? Especially if there's weight concerns, either underweight or overweight. And yeah, the allergen testing is actually, I think, pretty important, especially if you feel like you just, you're never quite tip top shape. There's something just kind of off. You're achy, you're always tired, brain fog. You know, you have acid reflux, whatever it is. So it's not a bad idea because there's a good chance that it's maybe a food, or an environmental allergen, and that once you start to figure out those things, which you should avoid, what you should focus more on, it will become clearer and clearer. It can be daunting for some people. I know people who have really gnarly disorders or diseases, and they are so limited on what they can eat. And I've had to do elimination diet testing, and that it can be brutal, especially when you realize there are certain things that you really should avoid, and they're like in everything. Or you need to get a certain kind of amount of protein, or a certain kind of certain kinds of nutrients and vitamins and whatnot, and that may only be really common in certain foods, and so you're going to have to figure out what other foods can I get. So it could be, it could take time. It could be trial and error. And to lead into, that's a good segue for supplements. Listen, I think there are probably like a good number of supplements, and some people don't like that word. I don't know why. I I don't know if it's a labeling, thing, an industry battle between big pharma, and the little guys. I don't know. I don't care. That's not my focus or problem. But you are supplementing your diet with something else, and so whatever it is, right? Whatever you want to call it, it's natural, it's plant based. Cool, but you're supplementing your diet because you are not just going to eat these pills, or these what do they call, they concentrate like oils and certain things like that. But anyways, you don't a lot of times people buy these things because they can't get it naturally, like at the supermarket, or it's a common thing that's in their cooking, their cuisine, their daily cuisine. So there's so many out there, And some of them have been around for centuries or thousands of years. So I'm not against it at all. I just really can't advise people on it. That's not my wheelhouse, not my specialty. I've tried a bunch of different supplements. And the other thing about that is there are different quality standards for all of these supplements. Um, I'm just going to say it, but a lot of things that are made abroad, like in China, are not often very great. Um, Not everything. I'm not saying everything, but yeah, I mean, and I'm not saying everything made in America is like, top notch either. But what I'm getting at is that you're going to have to do your due diligence. Some people love doing that, and I thank them because I don't have the patience or the time to do that. And I mean, if I did that with every single thing in my life, I would get nowhere. Just the same with everybody else. So I'm glad for people that they have those specific interests because they're helping us out, right? Where we're putting our mind focus and energy and money into other things. So you're just going to have to do your due diligence, and I really don't have a lot of good resources on that. I apologize. My hope going forward with the clinic that I'm working on pulling together here is that I do want to get a nutritionist, someone that is more of an expert on that. And I would prefer it come from more of the Ayurvedic medicine background. There are a lot of Ayurvedic herbs and supplements and stuff like that, oils that I think are wonderful. I think they're great. But again, I don't know how that's going to interact with you. Sometimes you can find it at local, like Indian grocers. Sometimes you have to get it online. Sometimes it's going to come straight from India, so it might take time. And quality, it's hit and miss. Like especially with India, you have to go with a reputable source because there are a lot of, just like China, there are a lot of places or people that like cut corners or put fillers in and stuff like that. So I am actually going to try to talk about some of these Ayurvedic herbs and supplements and stuff going forward. I'm going to be bringing on some of my Ayurvedic peeps to talk about it and how to get your hands on it, or who you should talk to about like dosing, like how often you should be eating or taking this. So yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of it. But again, it may not be right for you, right? Same with food, supplements, and these extra things may not be for you. All right. So that's really all that I got today on that so far. Like I said, I'm going to try to I'm going to try to present more. I got it at Lizard Finder 3118. Calm down. I know I'm tired. Allergies are really like ugh. So I'm going to be trying to bring people on and talk more about these things like diet, food, nutrition, supplements, all that. So again, just work with your healthcare team, do your due diligence, reach out to people who are experts or people that you might want to add on to your healthcare team or switch over to. Please do that carefully, responsibly. And as always, I wish you all true healing, true joy, and I wish you all the best in your endeavors in life. Again, please subscribe, like it, all that. I appreciate it. Blessings to you all, and I'll talk to you the next time. Take care.